guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my review. This is Vimal here of the Halo Spartan Yoroi action figure from Jazzwares. This is the part of the 7.5 inch line of Halo figures that Jazzwares is doing through their subsidiary of Wicked Cool Toys. I wanted to do a review on it, mainly because one, I was excited to get it. This is one of the harder figures to get. It took me about a month and a half to even find it, and I didn't even find it in my own state. I found it randomly on vacation in New Mexico, of all places. So it was awesome. I couldn't believe my eyes, especially when I had seen all of the rest of the line, but not this one. So I wanted to definitely do a review on it, and maybe I'll do a review of the other ones that are a part of this wave, which I'll show you on the back of the box. So without further ado, we will get right into it. I will go through the box first, and then we can talk about the figure afterwards. So as you can see, this is no different than what we've seen before. Let me go ahead and focus this guy. There we go. This is no different from what we've seen before. It looks great in box, just to tell you that. In person, I love how much clear plastic they use on these boxes, just because you get so much of the figure shown. It's not impeded down or above by any cardboard or anything like that. As all the boxes say, the Spartan collection on the left side there. You have the accessory hands on the right side. Comes with 5 different hands, as I'll go through. Comes with a gun. I forgot what this gun was called. This gun was called the Disruptor. And then, yeah, that's the figure. And then you have the name of the figure right there. Sorry, I'm not going to focus, but Spartan Yoroi. Okay. And then let's go ahead and go to the back of the box here. Spartan Yoroi, Energy Sword, Disruptor, additional hands. That's what you get with all of this. 8 pieces total. Here are some of the other figures in the line. You get the Master Chief. We've seen that plenty of times. This is the battle damage versions per usual. You get Spartan June A266 from Halo Reach. I do have that one as well. Looks great unmasked. I'm glad that they're adding the head sculpts as well. Speaking of which, I don't think they did for the next most recent figure, George, which is kind of a bummer, which it seemed like a no-brainer, but guess not. One thing I do like about this line is that they use chrome visors, and like you'll see on this one here, it is in fact a chrome visor. So, and then Halo 2 Master Chief as well. Really cool to see this. It is a little bit of a brighter green when you see it in person, because I do have it. But overall, the aesthetic is correct. A lot of people have been complaining on the knee joints of this one, but overall, it's a good figure. Just for me, it's like the paint. I don't care about vanilla poses, I'll be honest with you. And then we get like a nice cool glam shot of the Spartan Yoroi. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and crack this guy out of the box, okay? And there you guys have it in all its glory, the Spartan Yoroi action figure from Jazzwares from the Halo series. I'm going to go through all the little bits here, but I think it looks great out of box. And believe it or not, I actually have 2 of them. This is this other one that I had in the first shot. I picked up 2 just because, one, I found it again. I couldn't believe my eyes. Well, you know, the restock always comes, but I wanted to keep one in box because I thought it looked great, and because of just the rarity. I thought it was cool to have that kind of like a more of a collector's item. And then this one's just for the play and maybe customize one day. We'll see. I've seen a lot of guys customizing this, but I'm going to go through just the different features of this figure. Overall, I can tell you right now, I think it's the best Spartan figure that they've made in this line so far. And quick shout out to Wicked Cool Toys. They're making a lot of diverse figures, and they're really, I think they're pulling them off. There are some issues people have had. Me personally, I don't have any like real non-nitpicky issues with these. A big thing is some of the joints, and I'll go over that and explain kind of what people have been criticizing. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this. I'm going to take this guy off the stand and we'll do the review. All right, and here we have the figure, and we'll just go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that I want to talk about is the paint on this guy. Overall, the paint looks excellent. Out of all the figures that they've made so far, and really the paint has been great on all of them, I would say this is the best. And the reason why I say that is this figure itself, if you look at kind of like the skirt right here, that's what I'm going to call it. Sorry, I don't know what the official name is. The shoulder pads, the helmet, the side cheeks of the helmet as well, even the feet you can see there. all of them have gold highlights on it, and there is no runoff. I've inspected this figure definitely before the review, and I can honestly say there's no runoff. All the paint is where it should be, and it looks excellent in contrast to the red. As far as the red itself, let me see if I can dim it a little bit more without turning it totally off. There we go. The red itself looks great. It's more of like a clay red. It's not like a bright red, nothing like that. It's more of like a clay red mixed in, you could say like I wouldn't say orange, but maybe like a warm brown red almost. Looks like, the best I can describe it is like clay red. Sorry, let me focus in. A little bit hard to describe, but I can tell you that it looks great. It isn't bright, it isn't too much for the eyes, and it's perfect with all these little gold highlights on the figure as well. Next thing that we can go ahead is talk about the articulation. So going into articulation, this is one thing that I have realized. Sorry, I apologize guys, I just need to get it in focus. This is a new setup that I'm using. One thing that I have noticed is that this is where the criticism for Jazzwares usually comes about. I've heard things, and like one of the figures in this line is the Halo 2 Master Chief. I've heard a lot of criticism about the knee joints on that, and this figure has the same knee joints, and I'll go ahead and explain that, but let's just go from top to bottom. Obviously the head articulates side to side. Up and down, really, up isn't that, you can't really do it too much. Down, you can have them look that far down. Nothing too crazy. I haven't popped this off. It is just a ball peg, but it is a connected ball peg. It isn't a double ball peg that you'll find on some figures like Marvel Legends, which is fine. I don't think this one personally really would ever give way to having a lot of articulation on the head, just because of how the helmet is. It is pretty wide and fans out a considerable amount. Next thing, you have the shoulder joints right there. That's how far he can go as far as his shoulders, which I think is great. There we go, have him in that pose. He can do pretty much a full cross there, which is pretty solid. The way that these are shaped, it allows for that pretty well. So that's pretty awesome on the designer's part of the armor in general. Both elbows are double jointed elbows. So go ahead and focus in on that. There we go, double jointed. You can definitely see the exposure of the joint right there, which is fine. Me personally, I don't really care too much, to be honest. I do a lot of vanilla posing, which is fine, just straight standing for me. I get it if you're, toy photographer and stuff like that. Things can be kind of tricky to make it look a little bit better, but double jointed on both sides. So here you have that. And looking back at it, this is pretty much very well concealed. You don't really see it if you have the figure facing this way. You really don't see a lot of the joint. Excuse me guys, apologies. Going down, this is where the biggest criticism comes for the figure. Sorry, before we get to that, let's go ahead and look at the hand joints right here. So they peg in and out, and then they just have kind of like a hinge joint. So there we go. And this is the sword holding hand, which I'll get into in a little bit. Let's refocus this guy. All right. So one of the biggest things that I find with these figure lines is people are criticizing the joints. With the back of the legs, you definitely get exposure to the inner workings of that joint. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the side view as well. This is where the criticism comes with. You 100%, the illusion of like it not being an action figure, it goes away entirely. Obviously we know it's an action figure, but with like toy photography and stuff like that, you kind of get this little cube in here in between that people aren't liking. This one's a little bit better. So in comparison, you can see like right here, you see the inner workings, and the back is covered now, but that front, if you're trying to have him run or something, very exposed. But one thing I want to show you is that, look, if he's standing straight up, which I'm sure a lot of you do pose your figures like that, you don't just have them all in action poses, but some of you do, and I get that, but totally concealed. You can't see the difference. I mean, you can see it like right there if you're on camera, obviously, but if he's standing up, let me show you really quick. Boom. Let's go ahead and make sure this is all focused too. That looks great, honestly. The flash of this armor, like the flamboyance of it, really conceals like any QC issues that somebody would have. Me, again, I pose them in vanilla. I think they just look great in the standing pose. And what I mean by pose in vanilla, they just stand on the shelf. He'll probably be like this, or maybe I'll have him just turn like this, have the energy sword, and boom. That would be that. But that is where the criticism comes from. And I get it if you want to do toy photography, or if you just feel like Jazzwares can do better. And I'm sure, you know, they do listen, so. We do have ankle joints right here that go up and down, and then they're on a ball down there. Let me make sure. Sorry guys if it's not focusing, I apologize. They're on a ball right there, both sides. And then you even have, one thing that's really cool about this set is that you have toe joints that go down. You're probably wondering, like, okay, who the hell is going to pose it like that? You can really get a lot of dynamic poses when they're stepping, something like that. It does kind of, it's helpful. And it doesn't look as bad when it's like an action pose. It's barely noticeable if you have it in like a diorama or something to use those toe joints, excuse me. Well, let's go ahead and get right into the accessories. All right, guys, going into the accessories, the first thing that I want to talk about is the weapons. You do get a pretty sweet energy sword. Let's go ahead and focus there. You do get a pretty sweet energy sword that you get with this figure. I don't think up until this point, I think this, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, I think this one might have been the first figure, first or probably the second, because they did a Walgreens exclusive with the sword, and I don't remember any other figure. Maybe they did a Mark V, the green and silver one with the sword. It might have came with it. I'd have to double check, but nonetheless, it comes with the sword. Paint looks great. These are some of the best energy swords we've gotten. Size to the figure looks great. Get that electricity blend. Let's see if we can, let's dim it a little bit just to see if we could, yeah, there you go. See, you see all that white in there. Electricity is all great looking. Go ahead and brighten that up. I'm very happy with what these look like. I think the only thing that could improve on these is just if they splash a little bit more blue. That would be cool. But I do like the purple, I like the clear, and I like the white. So overall, great. I'm gonna go ahead and post some pictures at the end of this review with the figure holding this as well. Just some different poses. Next we have what we call the Disruptor. That's what it says on the back of the box. You guys are probably gonna think I'm crazy, but I haven't played the game just yet. I don't have an Xbox One. I have a PS4. It's the most recent generation, but this looks great. I think they should have put blue in here because it's supposed to be an electricity weapon from what I know. Overall, though, it looks good. Nothing too special here. Got a peg there, but nothing. I'll have to double check to see if this figure has pegs in the back. I do see something that looks like it could be loosened, but we'll double check in a little bit. Good weapon. It's come with figures before. It came with one of the red Spartan that they had in the first series, so. Overall solid, can't really complain. Again, I just wish there was kind of a little bit of blue paint in there. That would really make it pop, bring it alive. So next we have the hands. So let's go ahead and talk hands. Left and right, got the pointing hands. These are like trigger fingers. Every time I see these, I think about the Spider-Man meme where they're all just pointing at each other. Here, one second. There we go. But yeah, trigger fingers for each side. Pretty basic, nothing too special there. Got the kind of the back of the hand, the guards there, and those look great as well. That's how I knew I found this figure. I saw the hands first because they're on the right side of the box, and that was kind of exposed on the shelf, on the hook. After that, we have two fist hands. Very basic. Nothing too super duper special about it, but I'm glad they one thing that I've liked about this line is that Jazzwares adds a lot of value when they add the hands and stuff like that. It does a lot for the figures, and I wish more toy companies would do that. And at the price point, it's like unbeatable, guys. There's still a little bit of plastic here. Let me go ahead and zoom in, focus in rather. It's a little bit of plastic here, but this is the left hand. It's supposed to be like this. Energy sword holding hand. So that is that. Let me go ahead and show you the other side that's on the figure, and I'll keep it on the figure just for reference. There you go. That's what's gonna hold the energy sword that you have for this figure. Okay. And then this right here is a very unique hand. This hand is pretty much what I consider to be the other hand when you're holding the energy sword, where they're kind of like, you know, like this, just gauging their attack. And it's just, there's only one in this set, and that's why I believe that's exactly what that was meant for. So I don't think I'm wrong on that, but either way, it looks cool. You can also consider it like a pointing hand. So you could have them pointing like outwards like that. So giving a command. All right. I want to check one last thing. I'm going to check the back for a peg. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do it off camera because I'm going to see if I can actually take it out, and then we'll see if there is a peg to hold a weapon or something like that. There you go. It is the back peg. See that right there? This is where the weapon would be, right on there, and I'll show you what it looks like with the weapon on the back in just a moment. But let's go ahead and zoom in. That's what that looks like there, and then this is it right here that pegs into there. I had to use tweezers to get it, so you might have to do the same. Just be careful. A little bit of this yellow or gold paint did scrape off. You can see there right there on the ridge. But you can get a weapon on this guy's back, so that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and peg something on there, and I'll show you what it looks like. Boom, there you go, Spartan Yoroi with the assault rifle on his back from Halo Reach. Man, this looks great. I say Halo Reach because it's the one that came with Noble 6, by the way. For anybody saying, oh, it's in Halo Infinite 2. It looks great, man. I think it looks good. I haven't seen a lot of people even use that backpack. It's so well hidden that you don't really even realize it's there. But it definitely is there. It's hard to get out. Use some tweezers or something like that. Just be careful with the paint. So overall, guys, I really do like this figure. I can understand the gripes that people have about it, as far as like the knee joints being very anatomically incorrect. It's tough. I mean, people want articulation versus aesthetic, and I get that balance is hard to achieve sometimes. One thing I do want to mention, there are no side pegs, so there is no, there's nothing to get this guy to have this on his sidearm. Either have him on the arm or not at all, like in the hand or nothing at all, because there is nothing underneath there. So, which is not a big deal. I like the way the armor is instead. So, and I get why it can't be on there. Obviously, they're not going to put magnetic stuff. Not on it yet, at least, Jazzwares, if you hear me. I really like this line. This is the best figure they've produced. And with that being said, go ahead and grab yourself one. I highly recommend it. It's, if you like samurai culture, or like Japanese culture rather, this is a cool piece to have. If you like Halo, it's a cool piece to have. If you like both, it's a double cool piece to have. So with that being said, guys, here's a quick gallery, and thank you for joining me in this review of the Spartan Yoroi. One thing that I forgot to mention is the back of the helmet does have a space for an AI as well, which is a cool little touch, definitely. Get a Japanese version of Cortana in there. That would be dope.